What?
Okay. Okay. Hey guys, you're back for more information, and do I have a topic for you? Today we're going to be talking about JUULing, and if you don't know what that is, I'm baffled that you don't know what that is. If you have kids that are teenagers or preteens, you definitely know what this is. And this is a topic that I'm really excited to cover, but I have an issue. And this dilemma is that I have a very specific opinion on this topic. And as you know, it is my duty to be, I said duty. It is my duty to give you all information on all sides and not give you an opinion. So, I needed to recruit some help. It's my husband! Yay!
She let me do something.
Like I said before, we were talking about JUULing, which is a form of vaping, and like I said, I needed some help. So I have some help here. Okay, so let's jump right into it. We're coming to you from our living room, and we have one light, and it's obviously raining outside if you can't tell. So Derek has a shadow on his face. Elephant in the room. Not you, the elephant.
Wow, thanks.
The way we're going to handle this today is we're going to talk about what exactly it is, what is JUULing, what is vaping. We're going to talk about vaping versus cigarettes, what the differences are, why one is more popular than the other right now, why people vape, and why people hate it. And then we'll just kind of wrap it up into a cute little package for you. First thing I'm going to do, getting Mr. Informed into this, tell us in one sentence or two what vape is. For somebody that has no idea what it is.
It's literally just water vapor with flavor. I mean, that's if you want me to just real simple, it's when you get sick or you have like a, where's the little thing, right? The diffuser, the little thing, and you smell it. I mean, it's the same thing, but from a coil, and you heat it up and you inhale it with flavor.
Oh yes, so we're gonna delve more into that, but yeah, that's the gist of it. What is JUUL? The short and skinny of it is JUUL is a new, innovative form of e-cigarette or vape. Vaping has been around for a while. We'll get into kind of why vaping became a thing, but the topic is a specific form of vape, and that is JUUL. I went straight to JUUL.com. The mission here is to improve the lives of the world's 1 billion adult smokers by eliminating cigarettes. Okay.
Sure.
Easy. JUUL was founded by smokers, okay, which makes sense. If you go to their website, at first you have to be 21.
Yeah.
To go into the website. So it tells you to verify your age, which I never had to verify my age. It was like, are you 21? Click yes. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
And if you go up top, it's actually kind of funny. I mean, it's like, this product contains nicotine. This product is not for youth. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's trying really hard. The warning at the top is a big nicotine warning. It's like, hey, we have nicotine. And there's also a button, like, right when you go in there that says, learn about our youth prevention efforts. We envision a world where fewer people use cigarettes, and where people who smoke cigarettes have the tools to reduce or eliminate their consumption entirely, should they so desire. It's about the consumer. What does the consumer want to do? Derek, have you ever JUULed? Specifically JUULed?
No, actually.
No, there you go. I know people who have. I have never JUULed either. And to give you some backstory here, Derek smoked cigarettes for a long time.
See.
A lot. This was before I knew him. But I'd still love you even if you didn't.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
I have been a singer all my life. Inhaling any foreign substance in any capacity, natural, all natural, cigarette, non-cigarette. Yeah, no. There's just no way. So that's kind of some of the backstory here of where I'm coming from. But yeah, that's the basis of JUUL. It's just a really cool, hip form of vape. So like, how did you hear about it?
Actually, through a friend who he didn't really get breaks where he worked. So he wanted something he could have inside that you can't really see, and you can just fit in your pocket, and it's about that long and about that wide. So it looks like a flash, like USB drive thing. It's real easy to get along in your pocket or wherever. He showed it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
The JUUL company and the brand experienced a 600% surge in sales. 600%. Now, they own more than 70% of the e-cigarette market. So that's the bottom line. It's a form of vape. A lot of people do it, and it looks like a USB drive. So if you go to JUUL.com, you'll figure out all you need to know. Let's talk about vape versus cigarettes. I don't want to get too much into cigarettes. So before we get into the mechanics of it, when did you start smoking?
I was 13. I don't know if my mom knows this, but surprise! Why did I start smoking?
Yes.
I was literally just with a friend, and all my friends are older in high school. He was 17, so he's right there. But his parents smoked. He had a pack of cigarettes. He put one out. He offered me one. I said no, and then I don't even remember what happened, but he offered one later on. I was like, sure, why not? I'll try it. Like, it's like eating a piece of candy. You're not gonna just have one. It just created a trend. So I got addicted to it pretty quick.
It's like Stephanie and hot Cheetos.
Hot anything.
Yeah, that's true. When it comes to cigarettes, you are smoking, okay? Smoking. Combustion. So you have the cigarette, you're lighting it, there's fire, combustion. Smoke comes from combustion. The combustion itself creates a new myriad of chemicals that you're inhaling. So it's different. The physical thing versus it on fire. Just some of the things that cigarettes can contain. Formaldehyde. If you have ever dissected anything in your high school biology class,
okay.
Yeah, you know the smell of formaldehyde. It is to preserve a dead body. Ammonia, carbon monoxide, tar. Actually, I'm pretty sure you could just Google like what's in the cigarette, and they have those like.
It's an entire list, yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. Okay, so then vape. What's the difference between a vape versus a cigarette? You already did the water vapor thing, like that's what it is.
Very short and skinny, yes.
Now, I'm gonna add something there. Technically, it is not just water vapor. Hear me out. It is technically an aerosol. For instance, if a can of hairspray, it's like a vapor, but it has things in it more than just water.
Question is difference between smoking cigarettes and smoking.
Or in vaping. Okay,
so personally, biggest difference was when I smoked cigarettes. Both of them have what they call a chest hit. In other words, you're feeling it in your lungs. The cigarettes hurt, like a weird, good hurt. I don't know how to explain it. It was because of you being addicted to it and you just kind of like craving that nicotine and stuff. When you got that was one of the things that, for me personally, was like, finally. It was like a relaxing thing. That's right. The best way to explain it. With vaping, it was the same thing, but it didn't hurt. I mean, it wasn't turning your lungs black. Cigarettes have however many more chemicals in them than vaping. Vaping still has a few, but not near as much.
Okay, well then I have here how it works. Like, you have the mouthpiece, you have the battery. Well, then that's what it is, the mouthpiece.
Okay. So you have the mod, which is the actual box itself. You pull the back. This is what I used. I went deep, heavy. I didn't do pins or the JUULs. So you have the mod, you pull the back off. It has 2 batteries that go in it. You have the tank, which is what holds the juice. The tank has the tip, or the mouthpiece. Inside the tank has the coil. Of course, your juice that goes in the tank. So that's basically a full, simple setup.
So you have vape juices.
Yeah. And
they are different flavors. It's pretty simple. So compared to cigarettes, this is pretty simple. It is made up of propylene glycol, flavoring, usually some kind of vegetable glycerin, and nicotine.
Different levels of nicotine.
Right. These are just kind of the basics. Propylene glycol is something that I always threw at Derek's face whenever he used to vape. Propylene glycol specifically is an additive that FDA has approved for safe consumption. So
it's in it's in cough medicine and stuff like that.
Yes, medications especially.
Yeah.
That's the basic difference between vape and cigarettes. So both have nicotine. Wrapping up this little section, the difference between vape and cigarettes. Biggest takeaway is the fact that vaporizing does not create any new compounds. Vapor maintains the same compounds as the substance that you're vaporizing, if that makes sense. So there's no combustion involved. When you create smoke is going to create new compounds.
Yeah.
When you're vaporizing, it's just the same. It's from the same substance that you're doing. You're vaporizing. So that's the biggest difference between vaping and smoking. Next, why do people vape? I want Derek to do the majority here when it comes to why do people vape. Because I got to be honest, besides what I've researched, I can't relate. Top reasons that I found, and of course, as always, you're going to see links of my research down below. Everything that I bring to you, I try to back it up as much as I possibly can. I'm going to get a lot of stuff from even medical journals and stuff that I'm going to talk to you about on the next section. So always do your own research, but I try to do as best I can to give you everything legit, sound, yes. Typically, people vape as a smoking alternative, obviously. Vaping communities, social purposes, especially when it comes to JUUL, which we'll talk about, it is all about the social. It's about, my friends are doing it, it's so trendy. The last one is so funny to me.
What is it?
Cloud chasing.
Okay. Cloud chasing, and I don't really care who I piss off by saying this, is stupid.
Wait, this isn't an opinion channel.
No, I'm explaining what it is.
Okay.
But I'm not you, so I can share my opinion. It's stupid.
Both sides.
Cloud chasing is literally like, so like when you have like a full big mod like I used to have, you get giant clouds of vapor. People learned how to manipulate them. Smoke rings. There's something called a jellyfish where like you just do multiple smoke rings and you like move your hands a weird like Dragon Ball Z way and make this weird. If you watch somebody who's good at it do it like on YouTube, it's kind of cool for like 30 seconds, and then you realize how stupid they look. I don't know. That's cloud chasing.
I mean, I think that's the best. Yeah,
I mean, that's literally what it is. That's like yeah.
This study came out of the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. I don't know what mental hygiene is. This was published in 2017, so somewhat recently. According to this study, fewer people are vaping to quit smoking, and more people are doing it just for social purposes.
Probably so.
And that's like the trend. They had a huge, like focus group, and they did a lot of stuff through social media. They had people kind of rank what their reasons were for vaping. The second to last, I guess in popularity, the second to last reason for vaping was to quit smoking. Social image was one of the tops. It's low cost, there's good flavors, it's safe to use, you can use it indoors, it has favorable odor. So it's just like all of these things. Nobody was like, oh, I did it to quit smoking. It was just like, I like it tastes good. So in this study in 2017, 43% of people did it to quit smoking, 37% did it for social image. So the point of this was to say, you think it's like, oh, everybody's trying to quit smoking, but now you're reaching an evening out of just as many people do it just for social purposes versus quit smoking. And to wrap this one up, I saw something that some people might like to do, and that's fine. Elle.com did a photo spread on the trend of wedding vaping. Like, people are taking wedding pictures and they're like vaping. I would not choose to vape in my wedding photos, personally. But you do you, boo-boo. Right?
Sure.
You do you.
It's dumb.
Why do people hate vaping so much? Why do people hate JUULing so much? When you Google JUUL, vaping, whatever, it is really hard to find good things about JUULing and vaping. Yeah. The biggest thing you'll find are just a bunch of anecdotal examples. New York Times did an editorial on this one teenager who got addicted to nicotine because of JUULing specifically and because of vaping. Lots of stuff like that. I think that stuff is important, but I want to put stuff on here that's 100% like science-backed, fact-based, that kind of thing. Yeah. Number one example of why people hate vaping so much. This is coming from the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, the Bloomberg School of Public Health. They released a study that proves that there's lead, nickel, and toxic metals in the vapor used by e-cigarettes.
When you buy like a tank, depending on the tank you buy or whatever, it comes with pre-built coils. You can get nickel, stainless steel, and there's another type, I don't remember what it is. Depending on the coil you buy is depending on the price. If you look after about 3 or 4 days, you look inside and you'll see the gunk that's built up on the metal, the wraparound of the coil and the cotton. And after about 2 weeks, you'll start to see that gunk come to the outside of the cotton and start going into your juices. And that's what you're getting. That
makes sense. So there's reason number one why people don't like it, is they're already saying, based on this study, that there are some toxic metals that you're inhaling because of this. Reason number 2 and 3 here, these examples I have are kind of the same. Okay, you good? You're good.
Hey.
Everybody, this is Oscar. Okay. This study is coming from the American Academy of Pediatrics. They took a group of adolescent e-cig smokers. They had been smoking pretty consistently vaping pretty consistently for about a year. They tested their urine. So in this group, they tested their urine, and consistently these urine samples were testing positive for up to like 5 different cancer-causing chemicals that are also found in traditional e-cigarettes. The New England Journal of Medicine came out with a similar study that was saying that the 2 solvents in the juices that we talked about, the propylene glycol and the vegetable glycerin, when they're vaporized, they can produce formaldehyde, which is also found in cigarettes, which we also talked about. And this is also another carcinogen. So these chemicals in both of these studies they're talking about are cancer-causing chemicals. The two main solvents found in e-cig juice are FDA approved as food and at food temperature. But when heated to the point of vaporization, they can produce carcinogenic compounds. Same thing. Something may be safe for consumption, but that's different than inhaling it into the lungs. Next one, I don't know, 3, 4, whatever. The National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, they did one specifically about youth. And I think, and this is something that we both agreed on early on, is kids should not be vaping.
If you have no reason at all to vape other than everybody else is doing it, that's
not.
It's a horrible reason. The only reason I started vaping is because I smoked for a long time before that, and it helped me not crave cigarettes.
E-cigarettes may help youths sort of adapt to inhaling nicotine, so when they take a puff of a regular cigarette, it's not as harsh. They're adapting to this nicotine. So it's like they're getting this form of nicotine. If they were to start smoking cigarettes or get a cigarette, it wouldn't be nearly as harsh. Like they're already used to the nicotine addiction.
Right, so they wouldn't think much of it.
Right. Exposure to nicotine permanently alters adolescent brain development and could easily make them more susceptible to addiction in other areas. Take out the cancer-causing chemicals, take out like inhaling foreign substances or whatever. Nicotine is nicotine. Mm-hmm. And nicotine is addictive, and promoting an addiction in teenagers or like early on adolescents, I think everybody can agree is not okay. This is number 4, let's say that. National Youth Tobacco Survey, they did a study, and this was 2017-2018, so this is somewhat recent. The number of high school students in the United States who reported using e-cigarettes, including JUUL, increased by 78% within the year between 2017 and 2018. High schoolers, especially in the U.S., they know what JUUL is, and they're no stranger to vaping. Those are some top reasons why people hate it so much. Why do people hate JUUL specifically so much? I mean, do you know why people hate JUUL specifically?
Because it's more appealing to kids.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
It's all about marketing for JUUL. Vaping's been around for a long time. JUUL kind of has, but it hasn't been as popular until the last couple years. Their marketing, to some, is a little iffy. Who they're marketing to specifically. The Stanford University School of Medicine, they have a Stanford research into the impact of tobacco advertising. They looked at thousands of Instagram posts and emails and ads and came to the conclusion that JUUL's marketing was patently youth-oriented.
I've never seen anything in stores. I've never seen posters, billboards, anything on the website. I've never seen anything on Facebook, personally.
I can't say that I've really scrolled through things and just seen JUUL advertised. Teenagers, just based on their age, they can, like, JUUL could be targeting those specific ages, you know what I mean? It's like our age, not as much as like a teenager. I did look at some of the ads when I was doing my research. They use bright colors and good-looking people. It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's subjective. One of the biggest complaints that people had was that the JUUL flavors were, you know, like cotton candy or things like that, were like specifically reaching out to youth, like candy flavors and
mango,
things
fruit, vanilla.
Right. Their goal here is to start taking out some of those more fruity flavors and things like that and to limit those. The other Stanford publication it was called the Nicotine Arms Race, and this one's actually really interesting. In one JUUL pod, so you buy the JUUL pods, there's 200 puffs.
JUUL pods are not that big.
So there's about 200 puffs that you can get out of a JUUL pod. The amount of nicotine in one JUUL pod, and it says this on the website too, it says this everywhere, has the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes.
With one little pod, there's not much juice in it, and
it's packed.
Many milligrams of nicotine versus a whole bottle of juice at 3 milligrams of nicotine.
Well, that's a good segue into this last study. This one is really interesting for this last little study. JUUL released its 5% nicotine pods in 2015. And when JUUL started becoming super popular in the last few years, all these other companies were trying to keep up, and now they're increasing their nicotine concentrations. Now it's just getting higher and higher. Mm-hmm. Now, the different vape juices outside of JUUL pods, some of them have no nicotine.
You can get zero, where it's literally just the two chemicals and flavor. But
JUUL specifically, that's not a thing. So, JUUL does not give you the amount of options that like a typical vape pen or vape juice would. So, you're learning a lot about vape in this video because JUUL is a kind of vape. Take all that vape stuff, put it in your brain. When it comes to JUUL, the reason people hate JUUL so much is because of kind of iffy marketing on who they're trying to market to, and just a really high concentration of nicotine in one little guy, little pod thing. We're going to leave you with this. Johns Hopkins, again, they released just a quick thing that I found. It was the 5 truths you need to know about vaping. If you're not going to take anything, take this from the video. Vaping is less harmful than traditional smoking. Than traditional smoking. We talked about that because you're not inhaling smoke. You're inhaling an aerosol vapor kind of thing. 2, vaping is still bad for your health. One
common thing I heard from people who vaped was, it's just water vapor. Your body and your lungs were not designed to take all that in.
If you hear water vapor, it's aerosol because it's not just water. 3, electronic cigarettes are just as addictive as traditional ones. Nicotine is nicotine.
Honestly, take out the nicotine. The flavors, different kinds of flavors you can get.
That's true.
For me, honestly, vaping was a hand-to-mouth action because I was so used to it. Like with smoking cigarettes or whatever. But a lot of it, honestly, for me, was just flavors. I really enjoyed the different kinds of flavors.
Number 4, electronic cigarettes aren't the best smoking cessation tool. If you are vaping or like JUULing, because I saw a lot of articles that were like, my dad has been smoking for 40 years, and then he started JUULing and he hasn't touched a cigarette since. I believe that. Like, sure. That makes sense.
It's also what it's meant for.
Right. But you may not be inhaling the same stuff. You're still addicted to nicotine. You're feeding the same addiction. It's just kind of in a different way. Right. Whereas if you do patches, if you do like Chantix is a really huge like prescription medication to help you stop, it is legitimately weaning you off. E-cigs aren't the best tool to get off smoking because a lot of times you're just going to keep smoking the same amount of nicotine.
You're swapping one addiction for the other.
Exactly. Number 5, our last truth that you need to know about vaping is a new generation is getting hooked on it. We're promoting more addictions for a new generation. We might be taking some serious steps back. Tell us really quickly why you started vaping and why you got off vaping.
The biggest thing for me was smell. I'm a very big smell person. When I vaped, it was just fruit or candy. I stopped smoking right before we started dating anyways. But it would stick to my fingers and my clothes and in my hair. And a few weeks after I quit smoking, I could still smell it a little bit. It took me a while to get it off my clothes and to really wash it out of my hands and my fingers. I would eat and the food would taste great. I could taste the food just fine. But I would still have that slight aftertaste of cigarettes, no matter what I did. I like flavorful drinks and treats and jelly beans and stuff like that. So the flavors that the idea of like, oh, I can still get my feel of nicotine that I need during the day and have good flavor and experiment with different flavors was like a no-brainer for me. Why I quit? The first part of it was because she hated it. Second reason is a tie. One, because I got tired of spending money on it. And I just got tired of like keeping up with it, really. It just, I didn't like the feeling anymore. The feeling of wanting nicotine and anything else. I just didn't like it. I mean, it pretty much sums it up. It started to make me feel like I needed to rely on something to get through my day. And if I didn't have it, I was stressed out, which is addiction. So, yeah.
That's about it. I hope you guys learned more about vaping, JUULing, that sort of thing. This is just one of those things where we want people to make the healthiest decisions possible, and there are reasons out there. There's a positive side of vaping, which is some people have been able to get off smoking because of it. And like we said, it is not as harmful as cigarettes. We just want everybody to have all the information, and this is the information. This is what you can find out there. Some people can use it for positive. A lot of people can use it for negative. Now you know if you want to formulate an opinion on vaping or JUULing. Thank you to my guest, my husband. Thank you so much for watching. I am still taking requests, and I've gotten a lot of requests for different topics. I have my plate full. If you want this guy back on the channel, click the like button. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Next slide you're going to see is going to have my social media handles. He's copying me, and that actually really irritates me. Yeah. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, all that stuff. All the links you need are in the description down below. I love to hear from you guys. Reach out to me any way you want to. Oh God. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye. The mission of JUUL, of this vape, is to improve the lives of the world's adult 1 billion smokers. Wait, what? Hold on. Shut up. Thanks. You give me 3? 3. 4, 5. Thank you. Jelly bean break. These jelly beans are bomb.
True. She stopped recording the audio, so that's a net.
Did you?
You saw it here first. And Nick, my wife.
Bruiser. Hey. Hey.
I got it. Hey! Lay down.
Go.